it's draft day, and with that it's also about a year since Paul Fenton took over as general manager. So I decided, let's see how he did. Not exactly the greatest year he has had. Yeah, saying he has had a turbulent year is probably the biggest understatement of the year. That's pretty much like saying that, oh, we have a slight draft in a hurricane. Incidentally, a hurricane was pretty much what sparked the entire downfall of Paul Fenton's year. Well, it already got off on the wrong foot, but he was kind of climbing back up, and then he made a trade with the Hurricanes, and then things went downwards completely and went off the rails. But I will get to that. Don't worry, I will get to that trade. We all know it's coming. Don't worry, I'll get to it. But let's start off with part 1 of this, which is gonna be the 2018 draft. Minnesota draft proudly with the first round pick of the year, Philip Johansson. Who is he? Swedish okay, I guess Swedes can make defenders. That's probably good. Oh, he sucks. There was a lot of good players on the board still. Both Wild, anyone? Would he have been nice? Yep, he would. That was not a good idea. I do agree that getting a defender was probably a nice enough addition. Like I said in the last video yesterday, we need defenders in our system. But drafting a guy in the Allsvenskan who has not performed at all, he was not even projected to go in the second round. Why are we spending a first round pick on a guy that's not even projected that way? There were good guys on the board. Frank Valeno could have been nice as well. I know he's a little bit of a risky pick. I know he was a bit of a risk to take. But sometimes you need to gamble a little bit, and not going completely off the wall is not a good way to do it. But okay, maybe he can redeem himself. Maybe he can kind of bounce back in the later rounds. Well, it's a later round, and he didn't really get anything. Connor DeVore was nice. That is a good pickup, I feel. But else, we drafted Jake McBain. He has not been great this season. We got Simon Johansson. Also okay, not great. And then was the later round where it's basically we don't know about them yet. I'm not gonna take and throw all of these guys under that they aren't good enough. They can be good enough, of course they can. But we don't know yet. But his first round pick was not great. He could have gotten better, and it's already proven to be a difficult pill to swallow that he kind of went wrong there. Bad start, bad first impression. Okay, let's go into the free agency market. Let's resign some players. Who do we sign? Well, we didn't really have anyone to sign. The major one was Nick Seeler, who got signed, which is nice to see. I like Nick Seeler who got signed. Fair. Nice little addition. Kyle Ryo and Ryan Murphy got signed as well. Also, I have a list here, just so I remember, because guess what? There happens a lot of things in an NHL team over the course of the season. So there's a few things. And he also bought out Tyler Ennis. Tyler Ennis, who had a rough first year in Minnesota, and I feel like that was a fair move. It sucked for Tyler Ennis, but he got back with Toronto. I'm glad to see Tyler Ennis do well, but it does suck because it was a hope that he could be a really, really fun player to watch. He sadly didn't fit well with the Minnesota Wild. He got bought out. Well, that's what happens. It's business after all, and I can kind of understand that move. Not a move I'm terribly against. In free agency, we really didn't sign a lot. We signed depth, which was nice. We signed Greg Pattender, which is probably our hugest signing of the free agency. He was decent. He did really well. He did what he had to do. He was surprisingly good. I was kind of skeptical when we got him. He has done well enough to earn my kind of trust, and I trust what he does, which is more than I can say when we got him. So he has done well in that sixth defender role, third pairing role with Nick Seeler. He's done nicely there. We also got TJ Brown, who's been a mainstay on the fourth line, which is good. We got him really cheap on a minor league contract. That was a good addition as well. The rest was kind of minor league. Andrew Hammond, which did well in the AHL. We got Eric Fair. He didn't really play that much. We got Matt Hendricks. He got traded later. It wasn't that interesting. We got Matt Reed, oddly enough, who was like up and down the AHL and NHL. He had an open suitcase for like the most of the year. And then we came up like to the end of the month, end of June, where two signings, huge signings came in. Jason Zucker for 5 years, Matt Dumba for 5 years. Two signings I remember reacting to as my first video. And I remember saying that I was really happy with the Zucker signing. I was skeptical on Dumba side. Hindsight is 2020, but let's just say that Matt Dumba, yeah, I got that slightly wrong. He has been fantastic for the money he got. $6 million for 5 years? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely Matt Dumba deserves that. Jason Zucker, 5.5 for 5 years? Yeah, I say that's very suitable for Jason Zucker. Both of the players, I think that was fine contracts. I feel like that was exactly what we should get. Long term, not overly long, but long term, we lock them down for their prime. We can roll on with that. That's a good start. Good little free agency period. We make some minor trades. Will Bitten comes from Montreal for Gustav Olsson. We make a non-guy for non-guy trade with LA. And then we kind of got into the season a little bit. And then we make a trade with Anaheim where we trade up Justin Claus for Pontus Aberg, which in my opinion was a fine trade. Pontus Aberg is a fine player, and on his day he is fantastic to watch. He's fast, he has a decent shot, he has nice vision. He lacks a little bit in the defensive areas, but he's a good little player. And I feel like for Justin Claus, who wasn't in our plans, that was a decent get. I was happy with that trade. I was like ecstatic of that. I thought like, yeah, Fenton is doing the right things. He has come over the draft, he's doing well. And then I checked Twitter the next day. Shut up, I'm still not over this. And we traded Nino Niederreiter for Victor Rask. Something I will never learn why we did. Because when I read it, I was expecting and at first and something else for that. Surely you don't trade Niederreiter just for Rask. Rask is not that good. Rask is actually terrible. He has been horrible this season. He has been like injury prone. Why would you trade Niederreiter, who's been a decent warrior for us? Yes, he has a little bit of down here, but why? Oh, you didn't. Oh, you didn't scout him. What are you, Paul Fenton? What are you thinking? You absolute. How in the world do you trade Nino Niederreiter for a player you haven't scouted? That's a mistake you don't even make in fantasy hockey. In fantasy hockey, you would check that stat. How are they doing? You would look into how injury prone are they? What kind of a player are they? Where would they play? You would actually research. It wouldn't be something you would do. Oh, we just need to get rid of this guy because he is part of the old core which doesn't fit on. How did you do it? How did you think that was a good idea? I can understand Carolina's reasoning. Oh, you want Nino? Yeah, sure, we can trade Rask for Niederreiter. Of course we can. By the way, this was information by Mike Russo, who is actually really trusted source. He said that this came in like a flimsical moment where he called up to trade Niederreiter to call up Carolina. And they just said, yeah, we'll take Nino. He had not scouted him. He had no idea what he got. He just wanted to get rid of stuff because that was not his core. A god-awful mistake, and that definitely soiled all of it. If you want to ask a Minnesota Wild fan what they think of Paul Fenton, this trade comes up every single time for his ineptitude and his inability to focus on the franchise and inability to be a GM. Yes, he made some good moves. All of them soiled away by that single trade right there. Because guess what Niederreiter did when he got into a team where he fitted? Yeah, he started scoring. Because guess what? Once you have a down period, eventually you will get back on business and he will be good again. Everyone could see Niederreiter would bounce back on this trade. Everyone knew that if we gave Niederreiter enough time, he would bounce back. He would get back to his old ways. Nope, instead we make a panic move. We don't even know who we get. We just want to get rid of this guy because he's a slog. He doesn't know what he's doing. He has a contract. Good, get him out. Paul Fenton, that was a mistake, and that is why I call this video Fenton's failed year. Yes, there is gonna be more things on this, by the way. It's not just this one. There's more trades on this phone that is not great. I will get to them, but this one was the worst of the lot. When the trade happened, I tried to be positive. I tried to see, okay, maybe we are trying to get something out of this. Maybe Rask fits better in the system. No, he did not. He proved exactly why this was such a bad trade, because he has not been good. He has been god-awful with the Minnesota Wild. He has not been able to skate for the life of him. And he is probably gonna be an anchor with a bad contract for the next 4 years. At least Niederreiter, when he had the contract, he was serviceable. He actually put up points. Moving on, I guess. Alright, what's your next move, Genie? Oh, you actually made a smart move. Yeah, then he got Brad Hunt from Vegas for basically a 5th round pick, where we also got a 6th back from Vegas, so we just moved down 30 spaces. And honestly, that was a really nice trade. Go down 30 spots to get a defender that kind of has some abilities that we lacked after Matt Dumba got hurt. And Brad Hunt has been good. Brad Hunt has been really good. I would not mind if we signed him right now and say, okay, he is one of our kind of resignings, and say you are here for another year as a 7th guy on the back end, but also if we need somebody to go up on the offense, you can actually do it. He's a very versatile player, and he's a nice player to have in the system. I like Brett Hunt. Plus, he has a bomb on the power play, and he's actually really good at directing that. So if he's in the lineup, he has the ability to create something on the power play. We then claimed Bebeto. We all know how that worked. Well, that was from Nashville. Not the last time we'll deal with Nashville, but yeah, that was not a good move. Bebeto has been awful, but that was a waiver pickup. That's not something I will blame too much on Fenton. That fair enough. You take a waiver pickup. Why not? Then he traded Ryan Murphy, who he signed earlier, for Michael Kepler. And then Fenton started trading big again. Another core piece from our old core, Charlie Coyle, out the door. In comes young, talented Ryan Donato. Plus a fourth because Boston went really far in the playoffs, so good job there. And this trade was fantastic for both teams. Ryan Donato has been brilliant for the Minnesota, given that actually some kind of scoring touch. I know he fell down a little bit after a really, really hot start, but he has been fine with the Minnesota Wild. I liked what I've seen from Ryan Donato. And we get a fourth out of it? Thanks. With Charlie Coyle, well, Boston went all the way to Stanley Cup Finals. Yes, they lost, but not because of Charlie Coyle lacking scoring, because he was brilliant throughout, especially the third round of the playoff. He was fantastic. Charlie Coyle has had a lot of skeptics in Minnesota. He definitely proved after a slow start in Boston that he is exactly a playoff performer. He is able to do something. He has the skills to really, really excel at this level. So I'm glad for Charlie Coyle, but we got a good trade out of it. This was a win-win from both teams. Both teams got what they needed, what they wanted, and that was actually nice to see that it isn't just either you lose or win a trade. You can't both win a trade. And after the nice win-win trade, he decided, you know what, I've been trying enough. Who am I kidding? He did not. He went on to trade more players at the deadline. More of the old core, of course, because this time we lost our magician, Mikael Granlund. It still stinks to lose Granlund, but at least we got a return in this one. We got Kevin Fiala from Nashville, which is not horrible. I still feel we could have gotten more for Granlund, but Kevin Fiala is not a bad player. The thing I've seen criticized about this trade is that this is a Fenton player. He drafted him back in Nashville. He knows him. He is really, really high on this guy. He really, really believes in him, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's definitely the GM likes this guy, and he wanted Fiala badly. So he probably overestimated him a little bit in terms of like the value and gave up Granlund. And I feel like he could have gotten at least something more out of it. Maybe a second round pick, and Fiala would have been better. None of the players has really been great for that team. Granlund was pretty invisible during the playoff for Nashville and hasn't really been excelling. Fiala, he has no glimpse of what he can do. He has a lot of skill, a lot of speed, a lot of nice hands, a lot of nice creative plays, but he loses the puck a little bit too much. He needs to mature a little bit. He needs to be smarter with it. He needs to find out how he really fits in with the Minnesota Wild, and especially the Boost Road team. I feel like he's a little bit too prone of giving the puck away and creating up-man rushes the other way, which is something he needs to work on. But if he can fix that part of the game, he's gonna be a really, really fun player to watch. So, not a horrible trade, not one I'm gonna spend time yelling at him for, which some might have expected me to. I'm not going to do that. I feel, again, the Niederreiter trade is where it all went wrong. More on the deadline, we also traded Matt Hendricks back to Winnipeg for 7. That's fine, we got good D for that, so I'm okay with that. Now, this was actually not a trade that happened, but he was attempting to trade Jason Zucker at the deadline. Probably what rumor says is that he wanted him traded to Calgary for Michael Frolik, which would have been an awful trade. Do not do that. Jason Zucker is much more worth. Why did you think you gave him 5.5 a year for 5 years? Do not try and trade Jason Zucker. Why are you still trying to trade? Why is Zucker on the board still? Why are you trying this? What this trade and what this rumor was it was him desperately trying to get rid of this old core by Fletcher. This was Fletcher's core. This is not what I want. I want something different. It's kind of weird that he hasn't tried to develop on this core, because this is what we were kind of hoping with him, that he would reach to on what was already there. Instead, what he has blown up is that core, and haven't really gotten anything in but his own little core of players, which isn't exactly bringing us in any direction of a rebuild at all. It's stagnation at its worst, and what he's done is take away our bright kind of pieces and sold them a little bit up for scraps, and giving him a reason to kind of want to leave, which is weird. Jason Zucker is fantastically beloved in Minnesota, so why are we trying so desperately to trade him? I know it's a business, but Jason Zucker has done so much for the community that at least you have to evaluate that into your mindset when you want to trade him. You cannot just say, oh, we want something new. Well, yeah, fine, but get something new that's actually good, because this guy is really, really light. He does a lot for the community. He does a lot for the team. He's a really, really good player. Why are we trying to sell him for Michael Frolik? Thankfully, that didn't happen, and we move on. We sign Eric Stahl to 3.25 a year for 2 years. Fine by me. Eric Stahl has been a servant for us. He has been good. He has been loyal. He has been kind of reliable. We know what we get with him. That's fine. I like that trade, that signing. That was a fine little signing. And thankfully, since he couldn't trade, it was kind of a little bit of rest period. Not too much happening after that. It was kind of calm, steady. All of a sudden, you get a news that all of the backroom staff have been sacked. Andrew Burnett, who was assistant general manager, he has been sacked. A lot of our video staff has been sacked, and a lot of scouts have been sacked. And this was a cleanup by Fenton in a massive way. He definitely wanted his own guys in there. He got them in. He fired those who was there before with Fletcher. But the thing that developed after this was not positive at all from our outlooker. Because what the rumors became, and what I seen from news articles and stuff like that, was that, yeah, there was a lot of weird tension between them over the trades that happened, and it seemed like those who got fired was those who opposed Fenton in his quest to get Rask, to get Fiala, who wanted to trade Zucker. Those were the ones that got the sack. Which is odd to me, because, let's be honest, with the Rask and Nino trade, at least, it's quite clear who was right there. Even Fenton has to admit that. So why are you sacking the guys who was inevitably right, even if you don't necessarily agree with on all of it? That's a business. You need guys who oppose you. You need guys who can actually give you some feedback the other way. Sure, you have to eventually go with your word, but you're still the boss. That's fine. That's what business is. But you have to have people you want to listen to, and who isn't just yes men in your business, to make it work properly. If you just go with yes men, then we won't go anywhere. It's just your word, and let's be honest, so far you haven't exactly proven that you can. From an outlooker perspective, this was a dictating move. He wanted full control of the franchise, and he got it. He got full control. He got full command of where this team wants to run, and all who opposed him in previous years, out the door. You aren't welcome here. That's a scary thing to watch from an outlooker again, because, like, okay, now he just does what he wants. He's a dictator. He isn't really caring. Anthony Burnett is well beloved again by the fan. He isn't able to connect with us at all. So, again, more animosity happens between the fans and Fenton. And it just creates a bad atmosphere around him. And it was a bad move. I feel like he should have kept a lot of the people. I feel like a lot of them were good people who did the job. And, again, who was like, what are we doing? Trying to actually say, this is not right. We have to do something different. And then once you try and oppose the boss, apparently you are out the door, which is not a good sign you want to send. But again, maybe I'm putting too much into it, but for me at least, it looked that way, and it was again making the year worse from an outlooker's perspective of Fenton. And then to end the year, we kind of signed a few guys: Matt Robertson, Garrett Matthews, who has been looking good in the AHL. We kind of again signed Matt Barchowski. He was also one of our signings from the first part of the year, so we went full circle that way. And we also got Nick Strom, who got a few games, which was good to see. It's fine to get some pickups there. I'm okay with that. And then the rumor again came that he's trying to trade Jason Zucker. Yes! Stop! Just try and think. Okay, Phil Kessel is okay. But why do we need Jack Johnson? Okay, but why do we need any of this? No, Fenton. So what the rumor is that this trade was centimeters from going through. All that stopped it was Phil Kessel not wanting to, which I can understand, to be honest. But why are we trying to trade one of our assets, our major assets we have left from the old core, to get somebody who's old? We aren't exactly a team that's gonna win the Stanley Cup next year with Phil Kessel. Phil Kessel is a good player. He's a fantastic player. But why are we trying to trade with this? We have a fine player in Jason Zucker. If you want to keep the core, why would you not keep Jason Zucker? He's around the same. Maybe Phil Kessel is slightly better. But let's be honest, it's not like that's going to change the whole dynamics of this team and make us all of a sudden we're Stanley Cup contenders. No, it's not. It just makes us older. It makes us more inevitably going to stagnate, and it's going to eventually just make us that kind of Detroit Red Wings, where we are constantly thinking, oh, we can maybe make the playoff, oh, maybe if we are good enough, oh, maybe, eventually you stagnate and you have no prospect, which we don't, and you have no good picks, you have nothing, you want to trade to the illusion that maybe you can get up there and win randomly, but no, you can't, and then you just also look back at 10 years of despair. We saw it with the Leaf, we seen it with the Red Wings, we don't need it here. Get a grip, Fenton, and stop trying to get us older. We need to get younger. That's a simple deal, and that's why this draft is so important. We need to get some young prospects in that has actual top level. I see Nick Ehlers on the market. Nikolai Ehlers would be fantastic to get. If you want to trade Jason Zucker, trade him for Nikolai Ehlers. Trade him for that kind of guy. It's the same contract, same kind of player. But at least he's so younger. At least you get something out of it. Would the Jets do it? Probably not, because Jason Zucker also has a pretty big contract. They need some cap bait, but at least do something with it. Don't try and trade for the sake of making a trade. That was what happened with Rask and Niederreiter, and that went wrong. If you do the same with Zucker, you have not learned, and honestly, at that point, I would try and argue for you going out the door. You have 1 year left, in my opinion, to prove that you're a good GM. And you need a bang year. If you don't, get out, and hopefully the door hits you on the bloody way out. This is what kind of spark me into making this video, this Phil Kessel rumor. I've been trying to kind of decipher all of these things, kind of making them all look into a list. That list got a lot longer than I was expecting. There's a lot of good things in it. Let's be honest, there's a few good things. Matt Dumba is a fantastic signing that he made. That I can like. But when you look at the draft, you look at the Nino Ryder trade, you look at his constant trade of the old core, trying to make this his team and get rid of all that Fletcher did, burn the team to the ground, and make sure nothing new can be sown from it. It's a really bad idea. You need to build as a GM. As a GM, you need to build on what's already there. Fenton has not been able to. He has completely revamped the team, but in a direction where it's basically the same thing, just a different kind of atmosphere to it, and it's more a musty atmosphere to it. It's not the team that we all loved with Nino Ryder, Brandon, Zucker, all of these really, really nice guys that we were liking. They were good for the community. And all of them, we have Victor Rask, we have Fiala, who is fine. Let me just search this. Fiala's fine. He can be very good. He's young. That's a decent thing. But you go and look at this team and there's like, where are we going? We still don't know where we're going. It's the same thing, just new characters that we don't know what we can get for. But anyway, I've been ranting enough. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys have a few input. Tell me what you think of this. Tell me if I'm right. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if Fenton should go now. Tell me if he should have 2 years more than to kind of figure out his style. Should we still trust him? What should we do? But yeah, let me all know, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!